What's up guys, Jade Rowe here with the Living in Minneapolis team. Today I'm going to tell you kind of just the truth about what it's like to live in the Minneapolis and metro areas, all right? Talk to you about the good, talk to you about the bad, break down a few things that you should know if you want to live in this area, whether you're moving 900 miles or moving 9 miles. We'd love to help you guys, but today just want to break down the truth about, hey, what is it like to live here? I was born and raised here, and we're going to get into that today. All right, so first on our docket today is going to be, hey, Jade, what are the people like in Minneapolis? How are they? All right, I've lived here, born and raised here my entire life, all right? People in Minnesota are generally super nice, very welcoming, pretty laid back. We're obviously known for Minnesota nice, all right? We're going to be very nice, we're going to be very open to you. You know, open to a lot of different people, open to a lot of different ideologies. We're 100% willing to talk to tons of different people, all right? It's gonna be a pretty just chill vibe. Now, every single area is gonna be a little bit different based on the vibe as well, right? Minnesota as a whole, and especially kind of the downtown area, generally, you know, leans politically, ideology is more towards the left, more liberal, right? And kind of a general rule of thumb is going to be, you know, the more dense urban areas are going to be more, you know, ideology of more liberal or left-leaning, right? As you get farther out into more of the rural areas, generally speaking, that's going to be more, you know, right, conservative-leaning types of ideologies in there. But that doesn't mean that it's 100% like that, right? There's a really good mix among the city and the downtown and the suburbs and, you know, the rural areas of both left and right ideology, if that's important to you. And I find that that's really awesome because you're not then just in a bubble of just everybody thinking alike. And, you know, you get a lot of different opinions and different people's thoughts and just get to live with a good diverse group of people so that you're always just kind of open to conversations and open to ideas. So that's kind of what the people are like, kind of what the politics is within the, you know, city and within the greater metro Minneapolis area. Next up is, what is the cost of living in the Minneapolis metro area? Obviously, this is an ever-changing type of number. It's very hard to, you know, say it's one way like this and another day it's like this. I've done a whole other video breaking down more stats if you want to look at the cold hard numbers. But generally, Minnesota and the metro area, Minneapolis metro area, is a very affordable place to live. I mean, our home prices are fair. They are, you know, increasing and appreciating in value, but they are fair when looking at what people get paid here. You know, our entertainment prices are fair. Our utilities, you know, water, gas, electricity, those are fair. Our gas prices are very fair. We're not paying $8 a gallon. We're generally paying, you know, $2.75 to $3.50, depending on the time of year and all of obviously the world economics that goes on. But, you know, $3 for a gallon of gasoline is pretty fair. So in general, it is a very affordable place to live when comparing it to other cities like, you know, potentially Florida or Texas or, you know, California. We are a very affordable place to live in comparison to other parts of the country. Up next is a question I get a lot is, hey, I know you like Minnesota, but what are things that you don't like about Minnesota? Well, to start with, it's obviously going to be the brutal winters that we have here sometimes. I mean, they can really get brutal. We have a very cold climate and very cold weather in the winter months. I mean, with wind chill, you can get below zero, -10, -20 degrees with wind chill in the winter months. It's usually, you know, a month, maybe a month and a half where it can be really just awful, brutally cold, where you know, you walk outside, you breathe through your nose and you can just literally feel all of your kind of nose boogers and hair up there just kind of freeze and get stuck. I mean, it can get really bad. Some winters are better than others, but obviously that just gets tiring over the years and over the year where you're just like, oh, I just want it to be spring, I want it to be summer, I want it to be warmer. You know, there is a portion of winter that I really personally enjoy, but there's always just that kind of month, maybe month and a half where everyone's just like, hey, we're kind of just grinding through the winter here, and that's just kind of the vibe. We all kind of lock arms together and we just say, got to get through this to look forward to our really nice summers. But that's definitely something that not all of us enjoy. I personally don't always enjoy it. It can be brutal. The other thing that's pretty bad about Minnesota is mosquitoes. Mosquitoes can be really, really bad, especially if we have a wet year in the spring or summer, and if it's raining a lot, the mosquitoes can be really, really rough, especially if you go camping or if you're outside next to any sort of swamp or wetland area. I mean, the mosquitoes can bite you up really, really bad. The last thing I would say that is actually pretty surprising to people when I tell them is the traffic and congestion. I mean, you know, Minneapolis is a very populated area. The metro area is very populated. So we do have a lot of traffic, and it can take you up to an hour to cross the city sometimes, depending on where you're going, maybe even more. So, you know, it's not just like, you know, I know people always say Los Angeles traffic is bad, which I get. That's probably for sure worse. But, you know, Minneapolis metro area does have a lot of congestion, and there's definitely some areas that I would rather not drive to at specific times of day because it can get really, really bad. And don't love that, if I'm being honest, obviously. Quick break here, 2 minutes. Again, if you really do enjoy the content that I'm putting out, please give me a like, leave me a comment, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell so you'll be notified when new content gets released. And again, if I can help you guys in any way, my contact info is down below in the description of this video. Reach out to me whether you're moving 9 miles or 900 miles. I would love to help you any way that you can. Also, if you have questions about, you know, specifically the Minneapolis metro area, leave me a comment. I make whole videos sometimes about questions that I get. So I'd be very, very interested to hear your thoughts and what other questions you have so that I can make good content for you guys about, hey, just what it's like to live in the Minneapolis metro area. All right, that's enough. We'll get back to the video now. Next truth about living in the Minneapolis area is, hey, what's the weather like? All right. Well, first off, let's just hit the nail on the head here with everybody knows Minnesota is a cold climate type of state. All right, it's gonna get cold here. We know that. That's gonna start probably in November, December, and last till March, maybe April, depending on the type of winter. It's gonna be cold during those months. But something that is surprising is that we do get really, really nice summers as well. I mean, our summers can get up to 100 degrees, 90-degree weeks where it's really, really hot. Those nights can get a little cold, especially in the fall or the spring. You know, you can get down into like the 40s and 50s, and it can be relatively, you know, kind of brisk, and you might have to put a sweatshirt on at the nighttime. But our summers, surprisingly, are beautiful here. You have the lakes, and you have just green, luscious grass and blue skies, and really, really hot. I mean, 100 degrees is super hot, but it's not humid like Florida or Arizona. You know, it's a really just strong 100-degree, you know, weather, and it can be really, really nice. All right, so you don't have to be wrapped up in cold weather gear the entire time when you live in Minnesota. Yes, you're gonna have that season, but the rest of the time here, spring can be really beautiful, a little rainy. Fall's obviously really nice, sweatshirt weather. And in summer, you should be able to be in a t-shirt, long sleeve, and shorts, you know, the entire summer months. Next question is, hey Jade, how are the schools in the Minneapolis metro area? Obviously, this is a big topic question. A lot of people, especially if you're a family moving to the Minneapolis area or moving in the Minneapolis area, you want to know which schools are better than others. Now, obviously, I cannot tell you as a licensed real estate agent exactly which schools are better than others. All right, that's off limits for me, but I can point you towards some resources to look and do some research on your own. That would be niche.com. That would be my first place to go. You can look up specific school districts, specific areas, look at the rankings by schools. Another option is greatschools.org. That'd be my second option. Good resource, but niche.com is going to be, you know, my preferred website for you to go check out, do your research, figure out, all right, well, niche.com, and, you know, and niche.com pulls in a bunch of data from different sources and aggregates the source to figure out, all right, hey, based on that and this and that and those stats, these are the best ranking schools from 1 to 10, from 1 to 20, all right? So do your research, look at niche.com, and then let me know, you know, if you have any more questions based on that research. Another question I get asked a lot is, hey Jade, how is the traffic and congestion and public transportation, all right? So the traffic here, surprisingly, is pretty brutal at times, all right? I know it's probably not as bad as like Los Angeles, but it definitely gets very backed up during those rush hour times when people are going to work. and when people are coming home from work, all right? I mean, it can take you over an hour to cross the city and cross different suburbs if you're not careful, all right? So it's worse than people think. I think people think, Minnesota, no one's really up there, it's too freaking cold. No, I mean, the traffic here is pretty bad at times, all right? Public transportation also is not the greatest. We have the light rail system. We have downtown buses. We have buses that will bus you from different suburbs into the city, but it's not that diverse. It won't take you everywhere. I know they're working on it to get the light rail system to get farther out into different suburbs, but it won't take you everywhere, all right? So public transportation is something that's super important to you. You're gonna have to be pretty close to that downtown area, and once you get farther outside of that downtown area, your best bet is going to for sure have to, have your own vehicle. You're gonna wanna own your own vehicle. If you're gonna be driving outside the city, driving to the airport, driving to different entertainment spots, you're not gonna be able to get there very easily through the public transportation system. You're going to want your own vehicle, and keep in mind, if you have your own vehicle, you're gonna wanna pay attention to and keep in mind the traffic situation and at what time you're traveling to different areas, because it does get pretty crowded here and congested. So not the best answer, but I wish I could say it's not that, it's better, but the congestion here is pretty bad at times. So next thing we're going to talk about is, hey, what are the best neighborhoods in Minneapolis metro area? Well, obviously that depends on a lot of things, but something to consider is that obviously affordability is probably going to be a limiting factor or a factor to look at, right? I mean, look at just the home prices within different areas, and that's obviously going to be a huge indication of where the better neighborhoods are and better areas are. Obviously, as price points go up, that's going to be a more desirable area than the lower price point. So I don't even have to tell you that. As you're just researching areas, you're going to say, oh wow, these homes are all $1 million, $800,000 homes, and these are all $200,000 homes. If you know nothing about Minnesota, you obviously know that those areas are going to be more affordable, or not less affordable, more desirable than other areas. As a general rule of thumb, the western suburbs is pretty desirable, from Maple Grove all the way down to Eden Prairie. You have Wayzata, Minnetonka, they're very desirable areas. You have northeastern suburbs like Mounds View and Shoreview, those are pretty desirable areas as well, but it all depends. I mean, Woodbury's nice, Cottage Grove is nice, just kind of depends on what you're looking to do, what's out there. You have Lake Minnetonka on the West Metro. You have a large sports complex center up in Blaine. You have the airport down south. So there's just a lot of different things to consider when looking at that and what neighborhoods are best. Obviously, school districts is something too that, the higher or better rated the school district is, that's going to be a more desirable area than an area with a lesser or a lower rated school district. If you want to get into this, further, let's hop on a quick discovery call, all right? Reach out to me. Let's take 30 minutes. Let's go through some neighborhoods. I'll show you some stats. I'll show you some statistics. We'll look at some homes, and we'll talk about, the specific areas of, hey, what interests you? What are some thoughts you have? And I'll go through neighborhood by neighborhood, city by city, suburb by suburb, and show you and break you down kind of the more desirable areas within the metro area. So if that would be helpful though, reach out to me, book a call with me. I'd be happy to do that.